this video is called The Working Girl Being Love Struck. Sort of energy wars, atmosphere wars, heartbreak wars, if you will. Heartbreak wars. It has everything to do with being hangry, the substances they use, they put in your food, psych meds, etc. And intimacy needs. These things are leveraged to help them control reproduction. It's a eugenic society first and foremost, with a special emphasis on controlling the attractive women's sexual behavior. Okay. So, first of all, I don't think this thing is going to be, it could possibly be corrected because of people's nature itself. But certainly when I consider the whole thing, I know it will never be corrected. People will always be doing something wrong. They perhaps will behave in a way that is more respectable, but they will always be ill-gotten gain forged sort of villains. Okay. And this has everything to do with the Greco-Roman cultural direction of humanity and who controls it, and the big three races. And, well, let's just get into this, shall we? The working girl, right? Work, of course, backwards is crow, right? And, of course, the job, right? Job in the Bible, job, right? Badge, badge of honor. Okay. We also have the idea of blowjob. And this is no small issue. Bear with me. So, people get love struck, right? And people strike a blow for their cause in various ways. One of the oldest tricks in the book is to use females to manipulate things. Right? Striking a blow for a cause, a blow job, and striking a deal with the devil are connected. Corporate, right? Core pirate, corpus, corpus meaning body, and so on. And corpse from corpse, okay? Corporation. So we also get her, hurt, harm, and charm. Charm, right? And of course, let's see her and the M meaning magic, like realm, right? What is real versus the realm, which is based on Greco-Roman, Sumerian, sort of the Egyptians who weren't right with Pharaoh kind of magic. This goes back to the witch, right? Witch bitch. And that goes back to the word pan, right? Think Peter Pan. Pan meaning all, pass meaning all, pass, sap, puss, pan, nap. And that goes back to Jupiter and Judas. Judays. It was the Judays that betrayed the Spirit of God, the Son of God, that betrayed God, right? The Judays. Jupiter, Jew, pit, ear. Who are they listening to? Right? So they worked with the Romans and the Jews, worked together to kill Jesus. Right? And if you scrutinize the Bible and put it in this context carefully, you see the Romans persecuted Christians for a long time. Okay, they weren't just these kind of people who were magically tricked for a moment. No, they continued that persecution for cultural reasons. This also leads us to atmosphere. A must fear. Okay, why must he fear? Right? Because if he doesn't, he might go something like AWOL, right? Which goes back to the law. And the AWOL, he wants to block out the evil and set people free, right? Who is damning who and why? The old quote-unquote God, and then, of course, they say, damn it, right? So this leads us to frequency, right? Free queen C. And energy, the inner G, another word for ki, the Sumerian earth goddess. This also leads us to vibration. Vi, bi, ra, shun. This is not a coincidence. How could it be? Can you imagine the people who would argue that this is a coincidence? Completely out of touch with reality. These ideas are sound. Do we see a true alpha martial arts spirit dominating society? No. We see all kinds of weird stuff, anime. We see all kinds of disassociative sort of psychedelic arts and drugs and all kinds of madness. Okay. Anyway, so it also leads us to Hades, which rhymes with ladies, and that is not a coincidence. Ladies and gentlemen, think about the rape of the Sabines and Hades kidnapping Persephone. And that also leads us to Neptune, another key child of Saturn or Cronus. Okay. Neptune, Zeus, right? So Poseidon / Neptune, Zeus / Jupiter, and Hades, right? Who's associated with Pluto, meaning the rich. Right? The rich control the ladies, so to speak. And on behalf of the Jew pit ear, right? They're listening to the children of the devil. And I'm not saying all Jews are bad per se. And that also leads us to the Neptune, right? Neptune or Pantune, and Pan plays the flute. Okay, the flight of those who aren't right in the spirit of evil. So, with all due respect, when we consider the culture that females accept in mainstream culture at least, but more likely in every culture that's allowed to exist, females are taught to be modern-day whores. And anyone who pays attention to the celebrities and to the magazines, 17 magazine or whatever they have these days, you can tell that their advice is given to them by sluts in mental health who want them to behave like sluts. Females are taught to be modern-day whores. They cater to certain groups of people so the pirates can slice the pie. When we look at the word statistics, right? I mean, who doesn't take statistics with a grain of salt, right? Stat-I sticks. The sticks. This goes back to the magic wand versus tatib, which is getting to the bottom of something by the use of the stick. Now, why did they do it this way? Well, this has everything to do with brain surgery and everything. It has to do with brain function. Outmaneuvering somebody and striking them effectively to understand how sharp they are. But sharp in what way? The heart is the seat of intelligence, right? And there's different forms of intelligence. There's a sort of masculine martial arts intelligence. Then there's this sort of gender-neutral kind of Greek philosopher, sort of, Sumerian writer, Babylonian scribe sort of form of intelligence, which has to do with a long-term kind of trickery form of intelligence versus think fast, right? Catch, right? See, catch is it's a play on words, see at sea, right? What way you see things, right? Think fast, catch that ball, boom, you caught it, right? Okay, he picked up on that before it was too late, right? And that has everything to do with warfare, right? As you go through these situations where if you don't figure out what the enemy's doing, you're going to die. This is a form of natural selection through martial arts warfare. And so you have different groups of people emerging victorious in the natural setting, those who think long-term like chess players and those who maneuver like a leopard society through the jungle or something. Okay. So again, the magic wand kind of illusion is the tree of knowledge, right? How much do you know and can you leverage it to use it to snake people and trick them? Versus the tree of life, how much are you focused on a martial arts perspective? And I put in a recent video different scriptures that have to do with the sword. And some of them are very straightforward about the connection between this sword and kind of surgical strikings, sort of striking with the spirit in martial arts. And there's also scriptures that make it clear that they're talking about the spirit as the armor of God, right? What they're really getting at with the belt of truth, right? When you make love to somebody, don't fake, don't lie, don't use witchcraft and illusion. Make love in truth, in the true spirit, in the divine order. This also leads to diatribes and vituperation, right? A or alpha, tribe, right? When you go on and on, you rant and you rave. Okay. So who takes what for granted, leads to the ranted, right? The G, again, key, the Sumerian earth deity, right? And there's also gnosis, right? Hypnosis and so on for the G, geometry, sacred math, and so on, and symbols and patterns in nature and so on and so forth. So we get the vituperation, right? So basically, it's vi to pour a shun, right? Things related to this leads to people ranting and raving about what they despise. So females are basically told they're not allowed to date you, and you aren't allowed to describe them as evil whores, or else, people start persecuting you. They start taking your videos down. I've had to tiptoe through the tools with this myself, by still delivering the truth. Okay, with all due respect, we'll say. So when we look at seduction, right? You see side, you see shun. All right. Now what happens? Okay, when you start, speaking on these things, right? We look at the Bible, right? And you look at Islam with the moon symbolism. Certainly we can see that females are important. We have Mary Magdalene, okay? You have, and then you have the Virgin Mary. And of course you have the Eastern Star. They talk about Esther and these other females in the Bible. And basically they subtly get at, use your feminine charm and your pussy power and so on and so forth. Be basically a Jezebel and pretend you're not. And, they take this kind of angle, right? And of course they use some kind of facade of decency and civility and class and so on and so forth. So when we look at the token minority friction, we look at drapetomania and how it relates to slavery. We know that it is clear that mental health has been used for a long time to stifle dissent and to keep various groups of people in check, right? Drapetomania being a disease by Samuel Cartwright is basically said runaway slaves, right? People who want to run away from the culture are mentally ill, right? Why would you want to run away from being civilized and trained to be a second-class citizen or whatever is the idea, right? And notice they have the word mania. Mania is also the stigmatized form of love in Greek culture, where they basically used it to try to stigmatize the idea of actually being in love. They said you're fixated on somebody instead of passing her around, right? Pacify, pass, puss, sap, right? Sap the spirit, and so on, right? So all can take advantage of. Okay, they're saying you're sick, right? Drapetomania and mania and bipolar disorder and mania are connected. Of course, bisexual, bipolar, and that goes back to the polis, right? The cities, the cult centers, and also Jacque and Boaz, right? The poles of masonry. I believe it's King Solomon's temple or something. It's been a while. Anyway, so we look at the rape cult energy in society. This is really what causes the most insightful men to really start to feel agitated. When you feel that you're being treated unfairly by women and they're making bad choices, it's starting to seep in your subconscious. You're getting mad. This is why they said I had temporal lobe seizures. Temporal lobe seizures. Write down the word. Temporal lobe. Okay? And then lobe, L-O-B. Right? L-O-B. It's right there in the word. Seizures. Right? This desire to be angry at the rape cult energy in society and to take what they have taken from me. Which many people say, if you take back what they've taken from you, it's not stealing. What's interesting is when you consider the alpha role in society, there isn't anything I could do that would be stealing if you look at it like that. At least, and I do believe there is no viable counter-argument to that. All right. If you don't pick up on it, you at least see what's going on as white supremacy. Now, this is an interesting and rather unfortunate thing. Obviously, those of you who have been paying attention to my videos recently, I'm not a big fan of the concept of race. I think it has been sliced by people in sex cults for the purpose of controlling people. Okay, and ultimately, as long as it's that, right, there's like a need to speak on it in this term, but I'm not a big fan of the idea, because ultimately it separates, right? If we, if we're on the same team, we should be on the same team, and we should put God first. Okay. And everybody pretty much has put the devil first, and they're all teamed up against me. So, when the people don't pick up on the rape cult energy as really the underlying energy that is dividing people, and they don't keep their eyes on the prize, the enterprise, right, the trophy wife, the female, okay, the broad and being on board, okay, and of course being bored, right, and miserable, and internalizing things, and there's all kinds of reasons that I'm right. Okay, when they don't see it that way, they oversimplify it to white supremacy. But who are these people? White people are basically people that over time, the Greco-Roman cults who migrated from Sumer through Crete, okay, Crete where King Minos is said to be the progenitor of homosexuality and Zeus/Jupiter is said to have been born, okay, and of course that connects to Helios and Circe, where we get the word church, right? They migrated through the Crete into Greece and Rome, and they became the aristocracy and the dominating class there. Some people describe it as the Babylonians who did it. It's really the Sumerians, the followers of Set, and followers of Min especially, and so on and so forth. There's all kinds of explanations where people get into Amorites and Titans, and it can get a little bit confusing. But to put it in a nutshell, right, the major players are Set, right, Amen, right, Jupiter, Amen, and so on and so forth. Okay, and Baal, the Canaanites, and so on and so forth. Jupiter, Baal, and I've gone over these in my other videos. Baalbek, right? Heliopolis in what was it? I believe it was Roman Phoenicia or something like this. Okay. Anyway, what basically has happened is that these sex cults have controlled European culture for a long time. So who are these white guys, right? They are basically being made in the image of the Sumerians. So a lot of them trace their roots to Sumer because they're in secret societies with secret symbols, secret codes, secret oaths, secret proceedings, secret gatherings, okay? And secret love life, secret affairs, right? Who's mind your business, right? And the symbols on the business, sex cult business, secretary, secret eros, and so on. Okay, secret Aries, secret Era, no, secret ear, eye, more like it. Now what we see here is that they start to channel these ideas and breed in this manner. And when all is said and done, this has been going on for so long that it is nearly impossible for me to reach out to females and to get them to obey the true Spirit of God.